Hello, this is Don Hall. This is at Don Hall Works YouTube channel. This is a channel at How To Ceramics, and we have over 100 videos that we've put on there for your education. And in this video, I'm going to make a chiminea. And in an earlier video, my friend Puka had made a small chiminea about 6 or 7 inches tall that she was going to use to burn incense in. But I thought it'd be fun to make a full-size one, and I've never done this before, so we're going to learn as we go. This chiminea I'm going to make is going to have to be made in pieces because it's got to fit in that kiln right there. I'm going to do it in pieces at least. So the way I'm going to go about building this is I'm going to make a coil pot. And because I'm using it as a firebox, I think that it would be better if I kept it the clay nice and thick. The way I do this is I make a piece of clay that looks something like that, and I use slip. I know a lot of people don't use it, but I just get it a little bit wet and scratch it. Now the bottom one here is kind of important because it's going to support everything else. So I'd like to make it, things like this, I like to get a little bit extra foot on the bottom of it. So what I'll do is I'll come around here like this and go all the way around just to get it nice and attached. Then I'll take another piece and roll it out. To fit on the inside, like so. I'll go around here just for that added little bit of support at the bottom. At this stage, it doesn't have to be real pretty. There can be a lot of fussing with it later to get it nice and even and round and smooth. But at this stage, I'm going a little bit faster than normal just so that you can see what I'm doing. Now, as I go around here and tighten this up, I give it a pinch and kind of lift up on this part here. Give it a little bit more height. And I'm still staying about a half an inch or so. Alright, so now I'm going to measure out, roll out another one. And up I'll go. It's going to be a bowl, so I'm going to want to go out. This is probably more clay than I need here. But this is basically how I make a coil pot. Just roll them out one coil at a time. Now I've done this where I roll out pieces on the slab roller and coil them around. That works okay. And I've tried it with an extruder, which I think are more trouble than they're worth. Because I guarantee you, when you count the cleanup time and stuff, it's just about as quick to do it this way. So I got a rib to kind of start making it nice and even on the outside. I like these big heavy-duty steel ribs the best. I use this one almost constantly. Those little thin floppy ones aren't really the best for something like this. So I'll go around pulling the clay up from the foot from the bottom. In a coil pot, you can't do it all at once. You gotta give it a little chance to set up a little bit before you put your next coil on. All right, I'll let this sit for a few minutes, and I'll make some more coils and get it going out. All right, I'm preparing the third coil. I used my rib and I cleaned it up around, inside and out, and I pushed it out so it's starting to flare out. I'm going to add one more coil for you here. This clay is a stoneware clay with a good percentage of grog in it. I use it for raku and for high fire reduction as well. I know that the potters in Central and South America who make chimineas, they use earthenware clay and fire them to a very, very low temperature. I plan on only to fire this one to cone 07 in my electric kiln. Hopefully it will be able to withstand the small wood fire inside without cracking. Remember, when you're cutting these coils, cut them at an angle. You get more clay surface touching each other. It'll stick together better. See, that's pretty thick right there. So I can get a good couple inches more on here. This clay is pretty soft, so I'm going to have to go slow between adding coils. And I'm pushing it out and thinning it as I go. Now I'm going to go around on the outside here again. Yeah, this is pretty soft. This is probably about as far as I can go, and without giving it a rest, letting it stiffen up a little bit, or it's going to start to slump. As I scrape on the inside here, I'm going to hold with my other hand so I don't push it too far out. The inside really doesn't have to be all that pretty. I don't think anybody's going to stick their head in there when there's a fire in it. Anyway, so that's how I do that part. I'm going to give it a rest now and come back a little bit later, add some more coils. I added one more coil and flared it out a little bit. Now I want to keep it under 20 inches, which is right there. So I can go out that far. I don't want to go any further than that. We'll go out a couple more rings and then we'll decide whether it should go out more or start coming back in. But it should give us, you know, something like that. But I added a couple more rows here, and I still got another little bit more I can go out. So I'm going to put at least one more on top of here. But before I do that, I want to show you another little trick that I do sometimes. As you can see, this is getting a little bit wobbly at different heights. It's not level across the top. So I want to trim the top before I put the next coil on. So I simply use a needle tool and this is less than a perfect tool I've made to determine whether or not the pot is staying round. I've taken a stick and stuck it into some clay, and then making sure it's up nice and straight, I put it in the bottom of the pot and then measure to see if it is in fact the same distance around. It's only a rough estimate, but it is kind of helpful to see where the pot is going. My plan for how to do this chiminea was only in my head, and as I'm going along I'm having some other ideas and it keeps evolving, and so I was going to have it stand on 3 feet, but now I'm thinking I'm going to throw a foot on the potter's wheel. I've got to the point where we have to start thinking about putting the chiminea on the chiminea, right? So what I've done is I rolled out a round coil here. I dropped it once to make it flat on one side. Now what I'm going to do is attach this up there as a place where the chimney will actually start to grow. All right, I'm going to fuss with this a little bit, and then we'll start decorating the bottom. I decided to give it a kind of a industrial look, so I have some sprig molds that I made of all kinds of nuts and bolts and stuff, and so that's what I'm doing right now. I'm going to attach these little nuts on there. As you can see, I have a whole collection of these that I've made. They're very, very simple to make. Just make a ball of clay and push whatever you want in there, like so. Then take it, put it in a kiln biscuit, and then you have a sprig mold. You can make as many nuts and bolts as you'd like out of clay. I'm using the cylinder seal here to make a slab that I ran through the slab roller to make a texture on this slab, and I'm going to cut it into 1-inch strips and use it to decorate the chamber part. I'm attaching these to surround the opening for the firebox. I think I might put one more around the top here, and later on I'll cut that out. I'm going to start now to build the chimney for the chiminea, and what I've done is I've rolled out some slabs here, a little bit, about a 1/2 inch thick, and I'm going to build the chimney in a different way than the way I showed you earlier. It's still going to be a coiled pot, but I'm going to make it out of slabs like this. I'm going to make it upside down. I'm going to start at the top, which will be at the bottom. I'm going to go out. I'm going to mark it small here and gradually get bigger to the size I need it to fit on the top of the chiminea. So I've made this coil. I threw it down because I want a nice flat surface of it for the bottom. And I'm going to hook a coil, and I'm going to put the coil on the inside of this. I've already got one here that I know will fit. It's pretty soft. It's pretty soft, but I think it'll be a place to start. I'll put this coil in and then wait a while to put the next one in. There. I'm going to go around and I'm going to really connect these two pieces, squeeze them together nice and tight. This is going to be the base, the very bottom part. So now what I'll do is I'll take another coil here and put it on top of here. I'll show you that. Reach the top of this cylinder. That's the chimney, and because it's going to be flipped over, I need to put a coil around here, flatten it out, and that coil will sit on the top of the other part and hold it all in place. This will fit inside, and then these will be outside. So I'm going to smash this down flat on two sides, well actually three sides, flattening it down, and then I will attach it here like this. I got the chimney up as high as I want it to be, and I've made a slight line around here. I'm going to put a flange or a lip around there. And what's going to happen is this part of the chimney is going to go down into this hole. And then that flange or lip that I'm gonna put on there now is going to sit right here on the edge. And that should hold it in place so it doesn't flop around. So the way I'm going to do that is I rolled out this coil right here, threw it down, flattened it out, and so I will attach it right up here on the top. And then I'm going to add this textured piece for decoration and also structurally to help hold it in place and add a little bit more weight to the bottom of the chimney where it sits. Well, I got it all built, as you can see. We'll know what it looks like when it's all together. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some underglaze on here and there. I'll let it dry out. I'm going to biscuit, but that's all going to be in another video. So look for it in a couple of weeks on my YouTube channel, @DonHallWorks.